For those of you that don't know me and don't normally watch my channel, my name is Julie. I am 41, almost said 42. I'll be 42 this year. But I'm 41 and I am living with stage 3C ovarian cancer. Well, stage 3B/C. They're not quite sure what to rate it yet, but they're pretty sure it's one of those. I just want extra tightness there. So, I do have a story on how things happened, and so I will be going over that. So I hope you stay and watch. This could be very informative to you as a woman or to you as a man that has a wife or a daughter, a girlfriend who has the similar situation that I was in, that I am in, not was in, am in. And, well, actually was in too. So, stay tuned, okay? So, like I said, my name is Julie, 41 years old, and I am living with stage 3B/C. I'm not sure again, like I said, cancer, ovarian cancer. Now, I have ovarian cancer, but I don't have ovaries. That's why I said you may want to watch. It could be very informative. I found out June, August 26th of 2015 that I had ovarian cancer. I was sad for many reasons. Obviously, you're going to be. It's a shock. But one of the main reasons I was very shocked was June 8th. All right, let's start this from the beginning. In March of that year, I decided to go on a diet called the 21-Day Fix. And I was doing fantastic on this diet. I weighed about 225, about 230, 235 I weighed. So, my cat, who we love to no end and have loved since day one, since we got him in 2011, but he kept kneading like this right here in this spot, the lower quadrant, and he kept kneading up here. And he still does both. He doesn't knead over here. He doesn't knead over here. He needs these two spots. Actually, no, now he's starting to knead here. So, and I'm not going to tell my doctor because she'll look at me and say, "You're crazy. No, we can't do anything just because your cat is telling you you have cancer somewhere else." Anyway, and yes, and that is exactly what my cat told me, and I'll tell you why. So he was kneading and stuff, which isn't, cats need. So I didn't think any big deal, right? Oh, I finally got them all done. So I'm like, dang, I gotta get that checked because my kitty cat keeps kneading. And I was joking around, but, I pushed it aside. And so continued with the diet. And by June, I had lost almost 30 pounds. The first 5 to 10 pounds was water weight, but the rest was all this stuff I'll tell you how this stuff came about after. Um, I'm working on losing it right now. So I was very fit, very active. Even though I was overweight, I was still very fit and active. I mean, I wasn't like weightlifting fit, but I was very active. Hiking, biking, swimming, um, walking everywhere, walking on the treadmill, jogging on the treadmill, and not just your repeatedly, oh, I just want to walk on the treadmill just to burn a little calories. I'm talking in 20 minutes, I'd burn almost 800 calories. That type of stuff. So that's the stuff that I was doing. Um, but that was towards the end, like right at the end of May, the start of June, well, the middle of May. I started doing that type of exercise, but at first it was just all diet that I was doing. So I love the 21 day fix as much as I don't like Beachbody because um, it's just another fad, you know. Their 21 day fix actually is really good. It's kind of like the 80-10-10, but you're eating more fruit or vegetables than you are fruit because eating a lot of fruit is actually bad for your teeth, bad for your stomach. Um, I mean, it's good for you, it's healthy for you, but all that sugar and stuff, even though it's natural sugars, it can still be very bad for different reasons, not just obesity reasons, not obesity. Anyway, I'm sure I'm going to get flack on that. Um, June 8th, I was working and I started out having a mild pain in my stomach. I'm like, oh my god, my stomach don't feel good, but I went to work and throughout the day I'm like, oh my god, my stomach hurts, and I was constantly running to the bathroom. So I'm like, damn, it just hurts. Right here, by the way. Remember what I said about my cat needing here? So this is where it was hurting, and it was hurting so bad. I was not in tears yet. I was just like, oh. And mind you, I worked at a daycare, a privately owned daycare, so that was good. Ran out of her house, so at least I was in a house with bathrooms and and my boss was there. So I'm like, oh my god. So I'm like, I think I have a UTI because that's what I thought it was at first because I was constantly going to the bathroom. And anyway, I don't want to be TMI. And then by the time I left my job 8 hours later, I was in wicked pain. And I'm like, well, maybe I'm just severely constipated. And so, and I was telling, my boss and I were just talking about it. She's like, all right, well, just be careful. Let me know if you have to go to the doctors, and I will try and call somebody in to cover you. And I'm like, well, if it's I'm going to try my liquid stuff that makes you go to the bathroom. And I didn't do that when I got home. I'm like sitting there, I was in pain, and then by 9 o'clock at night, 8:30, 9 o'clock, I was in such agony. Like, my husband kept saying, well, let's go to the hospital, let's go to the hospital. I'm like, no, no, they'll just say it's nothing and send me home, and I didn't want to deal with that. So, anyway, went to the hospital at 9 o'clock because at this point, the pain was so bad, I was throwing up. Dry heaving. And so normally it takes about 10-15 minutes to get to our hospital. It took my husband 5 because that's how bad it was. I was crying and well, I found out I had severe diverticulitis. So I ended up in the hospital and stayed a whole week on awful, awful medication. Tons of medication. I mean, I was on high amounts of antibiotics to get this out of my system because it almost killed me. Um, And yes, you can die from diverticulitis if it's not taken care of because it's an infection. And apparently it's been going on for a while and I didn't realize it, and the infection just got really bad and was going through my abdomen, so they had to put me on high amounts of um, antibiotics and painkiller. So I was just in so much pain. So he said that he wanted to do surgery on that part. Now, diverticulitis is usually on the left side. God had God had a plan. He had it on the right side. And doctors today, oh no, you don't have diverticulitis because it's usually on the left side. It happened on the left side. I'm like, wrong-o. I am living proof that it's there. And anyway, so I'm in a lot of pain, and he wants to talk surgery, and I'm like, well, I don't know. I'm on this diet. Let me try getting through. He's like, yeah, but you gotta be careful of the roughage. And I'm like, well, I just won't eat those things. I'll eat other things that won't get stuck in my colon, in those pockets. And he's like, all right, well, my daughter had to go to camp, whale camp, in July, for July 4th, for a week. So I was there, I was up in Maine while she was in Nova Scotia, because I wanted to be close to her. I'm not going to go into that long story because it's even longer. But I wanted to be close just in case something happened and the Coast Guard could get me to her within 2 hours versus taking a plane, waiting, or driving for 8 hours. Anyway, I didn't have to, by the way. Oh, and I also broke my foot in Maine, but I survived, obviously. And so I'm like, you know what? I called them and I said, yes, I'll have the surgery. So they scheduled it for August 13th, which sucked because August 14th was my anniversary, and I was in the hospital for my anniversary. So he removed that entire part that was infected. It was highly diseased, he said, when he took it out. He said it was really bad, and no wonder I was in a lot of pain for that. He said that he also removed my appendix because it was in his way, and we don't need it anyway. I'm like, oh, great, okay. So I was fine, and the pain was much better afterwards, and I mean, I wasn't having a lot of like intense pain from June to August, but I was having, bouts of pain. And come to find out, it was actually the cancer causing the pain along with the diverticulitis. But anyway, I went in for the well visit to see when I could go back to work. August 26th, the worst day of our life, especially my daughter's life. She thinks that day just ruined her life, and she hates it. She hates the fact that it did, which I understand. She was 15, but I go to the office with my daughter. So we're in the office. She was 15 at the time. He comes in, and I'm like, so when can I go back to work? He goes, well, I got a surprise for you. Because I told him I'm feeling fine, and I go, good surprise or bad surprise? He goes, well, I got the pathology report back from Johns Hopkins. I knew. I go, I have cancer. Now, I was thinking I had colon cancer because he removed a foot of my colon. So I was thinking I had colon cancer, okay? He goes, yes, you have ovarian cancer. Wait, well, what? I looked at him and go, how can I have ovarian cancer? I haven't had ovaries in 9 years. at that time it was 9 years. It's been 11 years now. Um, actually going on 12 years in April. And he's like, I honestly, I don't know. But that's what they say. They say that it's ovarian cancer. And I'm like, oh my God. And then I realized that my daughter was in the room with me when I found out that I had cancer. So that upset me because I didn't have, like most parents, the time to think of a way to tell her I had cancer. So I'm like, okay. So I go to the oncologist up here where I live. And the oncology center that I go to is um, nationally known. It's I'm not gonna say what it is because I don't. Right now, I don't want people to know. I'm not gonna say where it is. Actually, yeah, well, it's Charles Wood Cancer Center. It's a very good cancer center. Like they know their shit. They know what they're talking about, or so I thought. So my oncologist, I talked to her. She goes, I don't know how you have ovarian cancer without ovaries. I don't understand it myself. And I'm like, all right. She goes, but the tumor was microscopic, or the tumor is microscopic. Oh, and before I get to that, he also said that he was glad that he took the appendix because my cervix is covered with cancer cells, not tumors, but cells. And you know, cells can turn into tumors. Cancer cells. My colon, where the diverticulitis was, all that area is covered with cancer cells. And the appendix was infested with cancer cells, he said. I'm like, okay. And he said that it looked like the pathology report from my hysterectomy said that I had precursors to cancer. I'm like, whoa, 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 time out. No one ever told me that. Had they told me that, I would have been right on it, going to every oncology center, every cancer center I could until I found out what I could do to prolong it from turning into cancer. So I can't go after the doctors. One doctor's dead, the other doctor retired and closed his business because the one doctor died in an unethical way. Anyway, so my oncologist wasn't sure. She said the tumor is microscopic, so and it's slow growing. So therefore, I don't need chemotherapy. And um, and she's like, chemotherapy wouldn't help anyway because this type of cancer, because she had to look it up before I got there. Obviously, she had to research and stuff. She's because these guys aren't gynecological oncologists. They're just regular oncologists that don't deal with this type of cancer all the time. So they don't see it, especially mine. So she said it's this is a very rare cancer, but the tumors are very slow growing, so that you don't need chemotherapy until we actually see signs that it is spreading and growing, meaning that my tumor marker in my blood samples are elevated, or the CT scan is picking them up because they're a little over 1 1 millimeter to over 2 millimeters. I do have two. Well, I didn't find this out until January or February of 2016 that I do have. Remember, I told you he was kneading up here? I do have in my lung two 2 millimeter nodules. One may be cancerous because it may be part of this, and one they don't believe at all is cancer, but the other one they're pretty sure, and it's in my upper left lung. But they're going to watch it, and if it grows anymore, then they're going to remove it to see. But right now, nothing is growing, nothing is spreading that we can tell. I mean, other than Princey Pooh is probably on the right track that it might be spreading, because I totally believe that my cat knows. Anyway, so I'm like, you know what? I'm not comfortable sitting back and doing nothing. She's like, well, you can make an appointment down in New York City to see a specialist. I'm like, okay, well, that's what I will do. Said because I'm not comfortable sitting back and doing nothing, because I have depression, severe depression, and that will just make it even worse, and my anxiety even worse, and I won't be able to work and stuff. So I want to make sure that I get that covered, because A, I need to focus for my family, and B, I want to make sure that I can work because I'm a workaholic. And she's like, okay, well, I made the appointment, so we went down to Sloan Kettering, and I saw not one, but two. One of them is world-renowned cancer specialists. This cancer specialist, and my husband went with me, and I recorded everything, and they said it was perfectly fine because I was a hot mess, and they said, they told me, yes, you have ovarian cancer. It could be fallopian tube cancer that turned into ovarian cancer. They're not sure. I'm like, but how is that possible? The only thing I have for female reproductive parts is my cervix. I don't have any other reproductive part. I only have that because it's fused to my colon. How is this possible? And they said, well, because of your endometriosis being as bad as it was, it's one of the worst cases anyone's ever seen. When because it spread, like the ovaries are like right down in here a little bit, I think, somewhere around here. It spread the ovaries, the tissue stretched the ovaries to where they weren't supposed to be, and when they removed the endometrius and the ovaries, they may have left cells from the endometriosis. They, not from the ovary, but the part that was connected to the ovary. It may have left a couple of cells in the areas, because I had massive amounts of endometriosis. So, being fallopian tube and ovarian, well, they said that the cancer that I have is possibly both, but they're going with ovarian right now, and they said it is most likely stage 3. And I'm like, wait, what? You guys said you caught it early, or that I figured that since it was so small, I was like stage 1. They said, no, it's stage 3 because it had spread outside of the ovaries, and the location and the amount that you have. And I'm like, oh my God, this is not great. And I go, well, what about chemotherapy? My oncologist said that chemotherapy is not an option because it is chemo resistant. They go, oh yes, there's no treatment for your type of cancer, and chemotherapy does not work on your type of cancer. You have a very rare form of cancer. Um, it's not like rare where, like very few women that have ovarian cancer get this type of cancer, like 1,000 out of 50,000 women. So, like, well, not 1,000, but like 500 or so, you know. The rest have regular. So it's more on the rare side, I guess. I don't know how to explain it, so I probably explained that part totally wrong. And anyway, and they go, we're gonna try cancer or chemotherapy. You are gonna do chemotherapy. I'm like, well, what kind? They said and I'm like, well, if it's not treatable, why am I gonna go on chemotherapy? They go, because the tumors aren't treatable, the tumors aren't gonna react to it, but maybe all the cells on your cervix and your colon will die off, but we won't know. But it's worth a try. So we are recommending that you get chemotherapy. That way the cells won't have a chance to turn into tumors. So they said, but most likely we're positive that the chemotherapy won't work on it, but we want to at least try. I'm like, well, how are you going to know afterwards? They said, we're just going to have to watch and see. And I'm like, oh my God. And both of the specialists said that. So I'm like, okay. So I had chemotherapy. I started chemotherapy. My oncologist up here wasn't happy because, she had to do the chemotherapy. She had to say, okay, you get the chemotherapy, because she was saying, no, I don't need it. And they told her, yes, I do, to at least try to attack the cells. So I was fine. Well, I mean, I had every normal reaction, and I also had all the abnormal reactions to chemotherapy. I had not like overly big, but I had a big amount of chemo. I went every week, every Monday, and every third Monday was a double dose chemo. So I had single dose for 2 weeks, then the third week was double dose. Well, by the fifth week, I was having chest pain. And I honestly thought that it was heartburn, because I read up on it. I read all the things for Taxol and carboplatin, whatever. And it all said heartburn, heartburn, heartburn. It didn't say my actual condition. So, every time I said I had chest pain, they would send me down to the ER for EKG. And I'm like, so finally I got sick of saying chest pain. And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. It's just achy right here. And they're like, yeah, it's probably heartburn. So they put me on prescription strength heartburn medication. I was taking Tums, and they also prescribed me Percocet. I'm like, well, the Percocet is the only thing that's working. I've tried Tums. I tried the heartburn medication that you drink, like milk. Is it milk of magnesia? I'm guessing something like that. That Pepto-Bismol. I tried the Prilosec. I tried the prescription strength, and they weren't working. And I was on them for the whole time I was having my chemo. So at the end of my chemotherapy sessions, um, I she's like, well, you still have no signs on the EKG or not the EKG, the CAT scan or your blood work that you have any signs of spread or growth. And we don't see any cancer, and so you are in remission. I go, we didn't see it to begin with. She goes, oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I go, and I'm not in remission. I'm a thriver. I'm not in remission. I'm not a survivor. I'm a thriver because I have cancer. Survivors don't have cancer, or they're in actual remission because their cancer is gone for the moment, or yeah. So she didn't like that I was right and she was wrong. So, but she dealt with it. And I go, and what about this chest pain? She goes, well, I can put you on prednisone and we'll just have to work on it. And I'm like, this is ridiculous because my chest hurts so much. So I was on prednisone for 3 months because I'm like, all right, I'm going to go to the allergist. Maybe I'm having an allergy attack or something, because I went to my regular doctor, um, not my actual primary physician, but his assistant, which I absolutely love, and she didn't think to do, which normally you wouldn't. Okay, you got chest pain, well, maybe you do have heartburn, maybe it's your heart, but she didn't know what the pain was being caused from. And the allergist thought that I was having an asthma issue or allergy issue, and I'm like, I'm fine. The one good thing that the chemo did do was diminish my allergies considerably. Like, I don't have the allergies that I had. So I was in and out getting chest PT and from him, and asthma care from him, asthmatic care from him, and he's just like, you're still so inflamed. That's not the word I want to use, though. He's like, I can just hear it. And he's like, there's just, I can't think of the word. When I get off of this video, I'll think of the word. But hopefully I'll think of it later on. He's like, I just don't know what to do. And he had me on prednisone the whole time. And I'm like, all right, well, and this was now July. So in August, I decided to go to my actual doctor, like the primary physician. And he started pressing on my chest, and it hurt. And he's like, you have costochondritis. And I looked it up. I go, all right, well, that seems good. Oh, and I also made an appointment. I mean, I went to a heart specialist, I went the allergist, and I made an appointment with a pulmonologist because I'm just in so much pain. And I'm like, all right. When I looked it up, I'm like, oh, cool. Hey, it'll go away. It will actually go away in about a year, give or take, but the pain will lessen. Well, I go to the pulmonologist. I kept that appointment even after finding out. Thank God I did. And I'm telling him the story, and he's like looking like he's ignoring me, and like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And, I'm in tears telling him the whole story that I just told you guys. And I go, I just don't know what to do. I'm in so much pain. I can't work until this pain is under control. And I'm not having it because I work with kids and I also do hair. And it's like every time I do something, I can't walk. I can't go to my mailbox and back without it causing pain. And and at this time I was on Percocet still. Actually, no, I wasn't. Was I? I don't remember. Um, but anyway, he got up and he felt there too, but he was pressing a lot harder, and I'm like, that really hurts. And then he had me doing the push this way, push this way, push this way, push this way, with his hand. Like I had to push his hand, and I had to push his hand back. I'm trying not to because that really hurts when I do that. Push his hand up, push his hand down. I had to do all of that. And he's like, I agree with your doctor. You have costochondritis. You have chronic costochondritis. And I'm like, okay. He goes, normally that would be okay and it will go away and you can go back to work, but in your case it's never going to go away. I'm like, of course not, because I get all the rare side effects of the chemotherapy, because that's what was happening throughout my entire chemotherapy. They're like, wow, we've never heard of this. We don't usually see this. We don't usually see that. We don't usually see this. The stuff that I was, hold on. Ugh, that's a little better. Was I yelling the whole time? I hope not. So, I'm like, of course not, because, of course I do, because, oh no, of course I'm not going to get better, because, I always have to have the rare side effects of things. And he said, well, the reason is because you have pectus excavatum. And I'm like, what in the world is that? Well, what costochondritis is the cartilage in between your rib cage and your breastbone. So here's your breastbone, here's your rib cage. The cartilage inside gets inflamed and it rubs against the bones. It doesn't have any room to go anywhere, so the bones are pressing on it, so it causes the pain. And he said, usually with rest and anti-inflammatories, um, you can get rid of this and it will go away. He said, but in your case, your breastbone is concaved. Like, it's not severely concave. You can kind of see it right here. See how it divots in. That's not like a normal, not TMI, but not the way breasts normally go. But my bone right here is curved in. And it's curved in enough to, since my cartilage is inflamed, anything that I do with my hands, laundry, sleeping, hugging my daughter, petting my dog, hugging my husband, um, showering, bathing, washing my hair, driving, everyday life affects this. And it is a side effect from the chemotherapy, even though my oncologist up here said it wasn't, but it is. I'll tell you why I know that in a minute. Um, so now I have a chronic, I can't think of that word either. I am going, ugh. So anyway, I have chronic pain, and it gets to it if I'm relaxing, the pain is minimal. Sometimes I can't feel it, but the second I get up and go do something, I start to feel it. Then it gets worse and worse and worse. And the more I do stuff, like folding this laundry, took a lot out of me. So I had to actually take my pain pills. So, just to fold laundry. Um, I am on permanent pain pills, and I have tried every pain medication under the sun. I am on morphine right now, and I am also on oxycodone. No, I'm not addicted to them. And no, I don't have an addictive personality. I don't get addicted. Well, I can't say that because the only thing I'm really addicted to is food. And it's not that I'm addicted, it's just that I'm an emotional eater. But I haven't been eating a lot, but I've still been gaining. I just can't exercise. So the bad stuff that I've been eating, it caused me to over gain weight. And also my cancer makes people gain weight. My type of cancer makes people gain weight. So that's also why I gained weight. So anyway, I finally decided. He said he put me on another anti-inflammatory to calm it down a little bit, and he's just like, you're just gonna have to go with your medication, and he prescribed Percocet for me because I told him Percocet worked when I was going through chemo, so he prescribed Percocet, and I've been getting Percocet up until I had to change it for because I started the I can't think of the word of it right now. I am like super super exhausted, so I'm having a hard time thinking. I've only had like an hour's sleep, and that was stemming from I had a 3 hour nap yesterday, and I've been awake a lot. Usually I sleep all day, but I'm in the mood of cleaning. So that's what I've been trying to do is get stuff done because I'm sick of looking at the frickin' house and having it a mess. And yeah, so um, anyway, I found a new oncologist, and they are gynecological oncologist, and I asked her, can the chemotherapy cause this type of reaction? She goes, oh yes, we see it all the time. I'm like, oh my god. So it wasn't in my head. She goes, oh no, 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 no. This happens all the time. And the other thing that I brought up to my oncologist up here was that after my chemo sessions were done, I asked her if I could have that pill, the medicine that you take for 10 years that would keep the cancer at bay, and hopefully. And she goes, oh no, you're not qualified for that right now, or something like that. You don't need it really. And I'm like, okay. So I go down to this new oncologist, and she found out. She's like, so you're on, I forgot the name of the medicine, Arimidex or something like that, right? And I go, what's that? And she goes, it's a medicine that kills hormones. And I'm like, no, I'm not on any medicine. And she goes, you should be on medication that will kill your hormones, that will help keep the cancer from spreading and growing, because your type of cancer feeds off of your hormones and stress and all of that. And I go, I asked her for that and she said I didn't need it. She goes, oh, no, 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 no. She got on the phone immediately and she stayed on that phone until my oncologist got on the phone to talk to her. And she's like, if I was her um, oncologist, if she was my patient, I would have started her on that as soon as her last chemo session was done. And well, I'm on it and have been. Um, and I also got last year, we got a service dog because when I was applying for Social Security disability because I can't work. Oh, that's the other thing. The pulmonologist said I'm permanently disabled because of this, which he's right because everything I do. I can't lift babies. I can't play with the kids because I get tired out and I'm in too much pain and I'm sleeping, so that doesn't really go well with daycare. And I am a hairdresser, so it doesn't go well with hairdressing. And I also, I wouldn't mind doing cashier work. I liked doing cashier work, and well, I can't do that because it's constant movement, so therefore my chest will be in constant pain. So anything I do, I can't do. Everything that I know how to do and love to do, I can't do because I'm in constant pain. And I haven't found a stay at home job that would give me the amount of money that I'm getting now through my disability. No, I don't get SSI. No, I don't get welfare. No, I don't get benefits. I am collecting from what I actually paid in to Social Security. So I'm collecting off of that. So, but I also, when I went, I had to go see a therapist because that's what you got to do to get approved for Social Security. The therapist would let Social Security know if you are in need of it, basically. And so we were talking, and I was letting her know my life and stuff, and how I'm very, very depressed all the time. And she goes, "You don't have depression." She goes, "Well, you have, you have clinical depression. You are clinically depressed. Um, Also, have you ever been institutionalized for your PTSD?" My what? She goes, "Have you ever been institutionalized, like in a mental hospital, like for WINS and stuff like that, for your PTSD?" I go, "I have PTSD? You have severe PTSD." I'm like, "Oh, um, no?" She's like, "Okay." And so then I got approved. So we ended up getting a dog who was retiring from her last job, which was having babies. Not a puppy mill. They are very well taken care of. They live in basically a castle for dogs. It's a huge, huge area. Anyway, so we were just going to make her a service dog for my PTSD. Um, but then she started showing signs of alerting to my pain when it was going to increase, she'd alert to the pain increase before it increased, kind of like a diabetic dog or a seizure alert dog. She alerts. And it's weird because sometimes I can't tell if it's because she's alerting or she just wants attention, because she does the same thing. She comes over, puts her nose on me. But if I'm not paying attention to it, she will keep being more aggressive versus going and laying down, which she does when I pet her, as she wants to be pet. So that is my story. I know it took long because I'm a long-winded person. Thank you for watching. Please leave your comments. Please subscribe if you liked. Um, please subscribe if you think that any part of my story would help you. Um, and please don't forget to go get checked. Ovarian cancer is one of the top 4 leading causes of death in women, because usually when they get diagnosed, they are at the late stages of 3, stage 4, and they even chemotherapy won't help at, you know, those stages sometimes. So many women pass away because of that. I got lucky. There is no way to check for pain or ovarian cancer, because it's not like breast cancer. So unless you're having pain, if you're having a lot of pain and you go to the hospital and they find a tumor um, bigger than 2 millimeters, that's when it's too late. you know. Um, but unless you're getting surgery and they do scraping around your stomach and your ovaries, um, you're not going to know. And I also want to let women know that even though you have a hysterectomy, you still have a very good chance of getting ovarian cancer. And the one thing I want to stress is my doctor, my surgeons did not tell me about my pathology report. They always send your tissues to a pathologist. So if you're getting a hysterectomy, make sure you ask for the pathology report. If they say that you did have cancer, pre-cancer markers or precursors to cancer, you need to be put on a Arimidex, I believe it is. Um, and you need to see an oncologist. Go to an oncologist, say, I have precursors to cancer. What is that medication that helps in fighting the way, the fighting the chance that the precancer actually turns into cancer? Um, it does help for at least 10 years, 5 to 10 years. So, um, I didn't get that lucky. I mean, yes, I got lucky that I had my surgery done, and I didn't know that I had precursors because they never told me. But I got lucky in the fact that the cancer didn't grow like most ovarian cancers do, and it didn't, I can't say it didn't spread, but it didn't grow the way most ovarian cancers do, which is like wildfire and take you out without even knowing it. You think you have the flu, when in all actuality it's the cancer, not the flu. So, I think that's all I needed to say. If you have any questions about it, please put in the comments down below. Subscribe, and also I'm doing a giveaway of a hands-free dog leash. So if you decided to watch the video this far to this point, I am giving away a hands-free dog leash. I will be doing the drawing on Sunday, so get your name in. All you got to do is subscribe to my channel and put your name in the comments. Make sure you comment on the video, not on my live feed, but the actual live feed after I end it. So it's in the comments so I can read it after, like I can go tomorrow and read it or whatever. So thank you for watching, and I hope this was informative for you. Um, and like I said, if you have any questions or need somebody to talk to, please don't hesitate to give me a shout out, okay? Thank you and have a nice day.